Welcome, fellow freaks, geeks, and nostalgic peeps, to my channel, Slime and Slashers, where, yeah, we talk about everything from Nickelodeon slime to horror movie slashers. I don't know why that made me laugh. I say it all the time, but the way I said it was funny this time. Anyway, but also we talk about everything in between, including books. Today's video, it is a book-themed video. More specifically, it is a vlog, and it is a reading taste test vlog in which I'm going to read books that my friend Lexie forces me to read, and I'm scared! Okay, whatever. Alright, we're gonna go to the short intro, and then I'll explain a few more things about it, and then we will get into the vlog. That was ridiculous. I can't believe I just screamed, but that was fun, whatever. And then I also laughed for no reason. But welcome back. I am just so excited about this vlog, but also really nervous. I think this could be a lot of fun. Let me explain a little bit about how this vlog is going to work and the idea behind it. So first off, Lexie is going to recommend me 3 books, 2 books she loves, and 1 book she hates, and she won't tell me which is which. So it's all a secret. And so, or it's supposed to be a secret. I will tell you that I know Lexie's reading taste very well, and already knowing what she recommended me, which you'll see in a minute, I kind of know which is which, but I don't really spoil it for anybody. First, if you're not familiar with Lexie, she is another wonderful booktuber. She reads a ton of thriller books, she reads a ton of horror books, she really likes newer thrillers and newer horror, but she also reads like indie horror as well. She has such great readathon ideas, she's so much fun to hang out with on sprints, so I'm really excited to be doing this with her. I'm so glad she asked me to do this, and I think this vlog will be very interesting because Lexie and I sometimes are on the exact same page about books, and other times we're the exact opposite on what we feel about a book. I'll give you some examples just off of the top of my head. So for instance, I loved Maeve Fly by C.J. Lee. That was a new release from 2023. I gave that a 5-star. She gave it, I think, like a 3-star. She didn't love it. And I do know that I like kind of single narrator in your head type of books more than she does, let's say. So that is a difference that I already know right away between the two of us. But then there are things that I don't understand why we have different ratings. For instance, she loved This Is Where We Talk Things Out. That's an indie horror book, very short little novella. I did not love it. It was one of her favorite books, I think, of last year that she read. So yeah, I did not love that book at all. Also, another book, My Heart is a Chainsaw. I read that book, and it was actually too much in the main character's head for me in terms of, it was just too repetitive in her head. But Lexie loved that book. So obviously sometimes Lexie does like books where you're inside the character's head for the entire book. Because basically that is My Heart is a Chainsaw, and Lexie loved that book. So I don't know where we differ. But here's some examples of books we both loved. So we both loved The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I don't even like thriller books that much, and I loved that book. We also both loved Sundial by Catriona Ward. We both loved frickin' The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. So we are very much on the same page when it comes to Catriona Ward. In fact, her most recent book, we both freaking gave it about the same rating. So we're very much on the same page about her, but about other authors, I don't know. I'll give you another example. Pen Pal. She loves Pen Pal. A lot of people love Pen Pal. I thought it was okay. I gave it like a 4, but she gave it like a 5-star. It was nowhere close to a 5-star for me. It was just like kind of a solid 4. Still creepy, still effective. I still liked it, but we just weren't on the exact same page. So where we match up and where we don't, I don't really understand why. Will I understand why at the end of this vlog? Will it be any more clear? Will I love the books that she loved? Will I dislike the books she disliked? Will I be able to tell? I'm almost positive I'll be able to tell, but we'll see. Let's get into the vlog. Enough yapping. I'll just let myself, my other self, my vlog self, take it away. Okay. I'm about to frickin' watch what Lexie picked out for me to read. I'm scared as hell. I'm scared as hell. Okay, I'm recording my screen, and I've got my headphones in, so everything should be set up and ready. Okay. Oh god, here it comes.
Hi, Kelsey. This is my moment to make you read whatever I want, and I am so excited. So even though I do primarily read horror and thriller books, I picked some books outside of those genres. These are books that I feel like you have been waiting your whole life for me to tell you to read. The fact that I own 2 of these and not the other one does not say anything about which ones that I liked. So the first book that I'm going to make you read will come as no surprise, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is a sci-fi. Some of these books do have some of a thriller element, but I wouldn't say it's the main genre. So we are following a man who wakes up and he doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know where he is. He very quickly realizes that he is on a spaceship and he's the only one that has survived. So we are watching him figure out throughout the novel how he has gotten himself in this situation, how he's going to get out of it. This is a bit of a longer one. I feel like this one is the most out of your comfort zone out of the 3 that I picked. Next is Red Rain by R.L. Stein.
Oh no!
This is R.L. Stein's adult horror debut, and it is following a woman who's on a trip. She gets caught up in this really bad storm and ends up bringing home twin boys with her. She kind of just like decides to, I guess, illegally adopt them, and things start to happen from there. And the last one I have for you is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is dystopian. I don't know if I really need to tell you the plot.
I've never read The Hunger Games. I told her that the other day.
Hunger Games, where 24 children are battling to the death to be the one to survive because their government forces them to punish them for the rebellion that happened in the past. So once again, not a thriller, but it definitely has thrilling elements in it. And since you haven't read this yet, I needed to force you to right your wrongs. I cannot wait to see you read Project Hail Mary, Red Rain, and The Hunger Games. And I'm also super excited to be buddy reading Devil's Creek with you.
I'm excited for our buddy read, but I'm excited for all of them. I think they're great picks for me. I think I could like the R.L. Stein book. We'll see, although I've heard weird things about it. I was kind of laughing and stuff over what Lexie was saying sometimes, so I have to watch it again. But I am very excited about the other 2 picks because Project Hail Mary, I've been meaning to read for like a year and a half, maybe a little less, but around that time. And I've just been so scared. So now she's forcing me to read it, but that's okay. I was prepared, and I'm actually excited about it. And I do own the audio already, so I'm not worried about the length. Hunger Games, I have seen the movie. I've never read any of the books. I've heard great things from people. I liked the movies. I've seen all the movies. So it's a good opportunity to right my wrongs, as Lexie said. So I think that'll be fun. I'm so excited, and I am really pumped for our buddy read, The Devil's Creek by Todd Kessling, because I've liked Scanlines by Todd Kessling, and I love a good cult theme story, which I believe that is. So I'm so excited, but also nervous. Ooh. I don't know which one to start with. This is going to be so hard, but I am excited to get started. I am so scared. Today is February 1st. Sorry, Jax. Today is February 1st. I swear I can talk. And I am going to be starting the Read Like Lexie booktuber taste test vlog. I am so nervous. Alright, so I've had some time to think about the book she chose for me. I think I'm gonna start with Project Hail Mary, because that's the one, honestly, I'm most scared to read. Even though I think I'm gonna hate Red Rain, because I've heard so many bad things about that book. I love R.L. Stein, but I've just heard that Red Rain, his adult book, is cringy bad. So I have a feeling I will dislike it, but you never know. I do have a chance of liking it because it's R.L. Stein. I just heard a lot of people say it's bad. From what I remember from hearing about the book in general. And I think out of all the books she recommended me, I think The Hunger Games, that book is the book I'm most likely to love. I have seen the movies and love the movies, so I have a good feeling about the book. And maybe I'll even want to continue with the series, which will be crazy if I do. And it's also crazy that I've never read it before, but I never was a big reader growing up, so I kind of missed, the period of time where people were reading those books. So I just never got to experience that. So thank you, Lexie, for recommending it, because now I can experience it. But I think I'm going to start with Project Hail Mary, because that's the one I'm most freaking nervous about. I could love it, but I also could dislike it because of the science elements. I don't know! I will check in when I begin I think Project Hail Mary is what I'm going to begin, but I will check in no matter what book I start, so we will see. Wish me luck, I'm scared! I swear I will say more things besides I'm scared during this vlog, but right now I'm about to start it, and all I can feel is like, nervous excitement. I don't know. It's like bubbling up out of me. I don't know how to express it verbally. It's coming out as weird noises, but... I'm gonna sit and curl on the couch with Jackson and read and be like, ooh, cozy. Please excuse the lighting. It's just about a minute or so later. I just started Project Hail Mary. I turned off the overhead light, and the dedication already is pretty badass. It says for John, Paul, George, and Ringo. That's the Beatles, and I freaking love the Beatles. The Beatles are probably my all-time favorite band. I've loved them since I was like 6 years old. Already that's a good sign, but who knows? Who knows? So, I mean, the dedication starts off good. I swear. I'm gonna actually get to reading before I update you next, so I'll have more to say later. But, already a good sign, and I am surprised, just by the dedication. Who knows where it will go from here? So, I'm 25, almost 26% into Project Hail Mary, and I'm struggling. I'm sorry, Lexie, I'm struggling. I'm struggling so much. It's the science. However, at the very end of the last chapter I just read, so literally at the 25th percent marker or whatever, there was a big reveal, which could develop into something very interesting and fun. But so far, our main character is just waking up from a coma, an induced coma on purpose. He's traveling in space. He's trying to figure out the solution to this big scientific problem, which will have devastating consequences for Earth, essentially, for the future of Earth. I don't know. There's a lot of science in it, and I know that the main character's supposed to be humorous and fun, but I don't know. I guess it's just not my type of humor. I don't know. I'm hoping it'll really catch my intrigue soon. Just a lot of science right now, and that's what is making me struggle a little bit. I like science. I'm not an anti-science person or anything. I just feel like I'm kind of reading a textbook, and even though the main character is quirky and fun and isn't like a bland, boring scientist, that it still really isn't enough to help me get through all this science. And just the plot is not super intriguing to me about Earth being in danger because of all of this. Like, it's just not something that I would choose to read about in terms of something that would truly scare me. I mean, yes, it's actually a very scary scenario in actuality, but like in book form, it's just not super enthralling to me. I don't know. We will see. It could get much better. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry, Lexie. I'm so sorry. Jackson's peeking in the corner. Anyway, I'm going to get back to it, but I did want to give that update in case maybe things will completely flip-flop and I will be loving it because of this new development that just happened at the end of the last chapter. So that's why I wanted to do this update in case things change, and I have a very positive update. So fingers crossed, we never know. It's not like horrible, like a 1 star or anything. It's just for me, this would be like a 2.5 to 3 right now. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm gonna see what develops and I will check back in later.
Hi, Jax. Yeah, I'm coming.
I'm coming. Jeez, Pete's.
Jeez and Pete's.
Jeez and Pete's.
Are y'all allowed to be on camera or no?
Depends on the shot.
Say hello.
Hello. Let's see what it says. Let's read the directions.
I have a bunch of updates. Please ignore the garland on my rocking chair. I do want to put up, this is like my year-round garland. It's not Christmassy, it's not Halloweeny, it's just like colorful. And I kind of like to put it around my bookshelves and this little book display. So I'm going to do that later. That's why it's laying there. We took out like my decorations that I put away during Christmas and Halloween, and we put up all the Christmas and Halloween over the weekend. So everything is finally put up, and it's freaking the beginning of February. It's a little late, but you know, I did what I could do. Don't judge me too harshly. So in terms of reading updates, so everything in terms of the predictions have gone the way I thought, except for Project Hail Mary. I thought there was a glimmer of hope of me being able to enjoy it. I'm so sorry, Lexie. I'm so sorry. I have to give it a 3-star. I finished it. The twist, the introduction of that new element in the middle of the story, or I think it was about 30-something% in, that element was cool. I liked that element. It was awesome. But at the same time, there was just so much science, and I actually screen captured my friend Amy. Her channel is Amy Noel Reads. I screen captured her review of Project Hail Mary, and this is like exactly how I feel. So she actually DNF'd Project Hail Mary. Now I don't know what percentage she stopped reading at, but I felt this very early on, and even with that element, that surprise twist element, whatever you want to call it, if you've read Project Hail Mary, you know, with that element, it still did not change the base problem for me. So Amy says, unpopular opinion, but I couldn't get into this. The storyline was cool, but it's just experiment after experiment and detailed descriptions of each and every experiment. It's just so tedious and not fun for me to read about. And it's not like they are just every once in a while. They are constant, which makes sense for the story, yes, but are not enjoyable for me to read about. Agree 1,000%, by the way. This is me chiming in. I think I would really love this as a film, but reading about experiments I can hardly understand. Not my jam. Yes, Amy, I'm so sorry, Lexie. And I know we're supposed to keep secret, kind of. Lexie said it was okay sometimes to reveal that we know. I know 100% that Lexie loves Project Hail Mary. You know, this whole concept was 2 of the books she's supposed to recommend to me, she loved. 1 of the books she didn't like. I kind of know everything that she did and didn't like, just because I'm not going to reveal every single thing, but I know Lexie's reading taste, and I know her reading past pretty well because we've talked about books so much. So I know the down low, the low down, whatever you want to say, of all the opinions she has on these. And she's talked about Project Hail Mary as one of her favorite books of the year she first read it, and also one of her favorite books ever. So I feel so bad, but I really didn't like it. And I'm giving it a 3 because it is well written. It is well researched because it is smart in terms of the science stuff, but I just felt like I was watching an episode of Big Bang Theory, and I hate Big Bang Theory. I hate that sense of humor. The main character was so much like the main character of Big Bang Theory in terms of kind of like corny jokes a little bit. I know a lot of people love his personality. Please don't come for me. It's just not my sense of humor, I guess. And that's totally okay. We all have different opinions. There are books that people dislike that I freaking love. And I really did think there was a chance I could like this because I thought it might have had a lot more emotional aspects, and I didn't think the writing was going to be as sciencey as it was. That's all. I was just under the wrong impression, I guess, that it was going to be more of a character study with some science, but it was like 99% science. Yes, there was friendship at the center. Yes, there was cool elements. Rocky, I loved Rocky, but it just overall did not work for me. I lost focus. I was like, when is this going to be over? I'm so sorry, Lexie. I'm so sorry. Please don't hate me. She'll be like, our friendship is over now. It's over. No. I don't want to make you sad. I feel so bad. Let's just ignore it. Let's pretend like it didn't happen. Okay. I know it's a very unpopular opinion, by the way, because I've seen my friend Sherry loves the book. So many people I know love the book. Amy's one of the few who actually didn't enjoy it and DNF'd it that I know about, so somehow I'm on the same wavelength as Amy, but as everyone else, like, I felt like I wasn't reading the same book as them. Everyone's like, it's amazing, and I'm like, the science, And I liked science in school, but science wasn't my favorite subject or anything, but I'm just not a big science person. And that is why I'm scared whenever I read sci-fi. I do think, and I haven't started this one yet, I think The Hunger Games could be a hit. I think that could be the hit of this vlog. Currently, Lexie and I are reading The Devil's Creek by Todd Kessling. That's our buddy read. We're both really enjoying it. I'm a little bit ahead of her. She's got to catch up this morning on our buddy read. I am only about, I think, 29% in, but loving it. It's a slow burn. You're getting to know the characters right now, but there is some creepiness, some horror imagery, just really got injected into the story with something that happened in the last chapter at the end. So I'm loving that. That is like one of the most positive things out of everything in terms of my updates. Another bad update, but I don't feel so bad about this one because like 100% sure that this is the book Lexie did not like that she suggested to me. It wasn't a bad suggestion in that there was still a chance I could like it because it's R.L. Stine. And I don't think Lexie's alone in disliking it. So we talked about earlier when you saw her suggestions for me, Red Rain was one of them. Red Rain, so far, I'm about 80% in, and I am also disliking it quite a bit. I am excited to finish it because I'm just like, whatevs. It is weird to see R.L. Stine write from an adult point of view. It's creepy because there's this scene where this doctor has an affair with his secretary and he's talking about her smooth ass, and I'm like, oh, this is not R.L. Stine, but it is. And I'm like, no! Like, this doesn't seem like something R.L. Stine would write. It seems wrong. I mean, obviously it's not for kids, it's for adults. I shouldn't be begrudging him writing like an adult. But it's just odd, I guess, after reading so many Goosebumps, especially lately. It's not just that I read Goosebumps as a kid, it's just also knowing what he looks like and having him intro, like, kids' episodes, Goosebumps episodes. He does, like, the little intro, all of that. It's just weird. It's hard to reconcile the two things together, the adult writing with who I know R.L. Stine is. It's difficult. But also, honestly, separate and apart from that, I don't think the story is very good. There are these obnoxious twins at the center of the story. I'm using the audio, which I think some people might be annoyed with the audio. However, I gotta shout out my boy, Michael Cerveris. If you guys don't know who that is, he is an actor. He not only is a television actor, but he's also been in a lot of Broadway stuff and play stuff. I actually met him quite a few times. He would guest appear on the arts and entertainment show that I used to work on. I used to work at a TV station. It's called WIES, a local TV station here in New Orleans. It's a PBS affiliate station, which means it's essentially like a public broadcasting station. And we would run PBS programming, but we also had our own original shows. For instance, the show Steppin' Out, which was the weekly arts and entertainment show that I was the producer on, so I had to talk to him, find out the content of his show. He was so nice. I have pictures with him, but he also, you guys would know him from Fringe, if you like the show Fringe, which I love. You know, the weird thing, going back to Project Hail Mary for just a second, is that I love some sci-fi things, like Star Trek TNG. You could say that has science nerdy talk, very technical talk that could be dry, but for some reason I love the characters of TNG specifically more. I'm not really a huge fan of other iterations of Star Trek as much. TNG, I find the characters speak to me the most, TNG wise. Like, Data is such a great character from Star Trek TNG. Worf, very multifaceted, very interesting character. Not so much Riker. And Picard's kind of more one note as well, but Picard is still somehow really, really likable in my opinion. Riker, and I could, leave him, take him, it doesn't matter, whatevs. Anyway, I like Star Trek TNG. Why didn't I like Project Hail Mary? I just think the character didn't work, and it was even more science than Star Trek TNG, or let's say Fringe, which I was just referencing. So anyway, Michael Cerveris played the character September on Fringe, and I loved Fringe. I watched Fringe before I met Michael Cerveris, but Michael Cerveris narrates the Red Rain audiobook. I don't necessarily love the accent he uses for these two little twins at the center of the story. The idea is this woman, she is a travel blog writer, and she goes to this like coastal town. There's a big hurricane, all kinds of death and destruction. She lives through it. Her husband and family are like, is she even okay? She sees these two boys come out of like this storm, and there's red rain falling on them, and she's like,
I've just instantly fallen in love with them. I'm gonna adopt them and bring them home.
And she calls her husband and is like,
I'm adopting these 2 kids.
and he's like, what? I don't think that's a good idea. And she's like,
No, I'm gonna do it, whatever. Like, you know, we got 2 kids already, and I don't really care how you or the kids feel. I'm gonna bring them home. Like, literally bring them home now, after the storm, out of nowhere, and we're gonna adopt them. And they're just gonna live with us and shit.
and they're like, obviously, evil kids. Especially one of the twins is very, very evil. And none of that I think is super spoilery, but I would not go out of my way to read this just because I don't think it's one of Stein's best stories in terms of plotline. I'm not super intrigued. I'm not super interested. The characters aren't super entertaining. And overall, the writing's just odd because it's an adult perspective from R.L. Stein. But like I said, above and beyond that, I don't think the story's that great to begin with. So anyway, that is at least... At the highest, it's going to be a 3. It's probably going to be closer to a 2.5. I feel so bad giving it that low, but not as bad as I feel giving Project Hail Mary a 3. Even though a 3 is not a bad rating, I feel like for someone's all-time favorite, it's rather low. Anyway, I know that's a lot of updates to absorb for you guys, but... I was procrastinating updating because I felt so bad about Project Hail Mary. I'm so sorry. I hate Big Bang Theory, and it was like Big Bang Theory in a book. And it didn't work for me. Like, I don't like laugh track humor, and I felt like that character had laugh track humor. But I know it works for some people. Hell, Big Bang Theory works for some people, and that's okay. It's just not my vibe, and that's okay too. So, like I said, it's always okay to agree to disagree. I just feel bad because I wanted to like it. And I did go in with a very open mind, and I was like, it could work for me, but it didn't! Like I said, I have super high hopes for The Hunger Games. I like the movies. I think I'll like the book a lot. And I think Devil's Creek could be a potential 5 stars. So the buddy read's going great. We'll see how Lexie thinks. She loved the first part, but like that was a very short part of the book that we read. I'm still waiting for her to catch up to this second part that I have already read. So we will see what she thinks, if she's still on the same page as me. But at the beginning, we were both liking it. And I will keep you guys updated as we progress. Almost done. We'll finish Red Rain soon and then start and finish The Hunger Games. And I should be done in the next couple of days. See you soon. I'm sorry again. I'm sorry! Lexie, don't kill me. Don't kill me. And anyone else who loves it, don't kill me. Goodbye. Hello. That was a weird hello. I'm checking back in. My hair is wet. I am so sorry. I just got out of the shower. Also, I just trimmed my bangs right before the shower. Let's hope I don't come to regret this. I'm so scared that I'm stumbling over my words. Let's hope I don't come to regret this tomorrow when they dry. Well, they're gonna dry tonight, but, you know, after you kind of sleep on your hair, you know, it does different things. Anyway, I am trying to fix my bangs because for the longest time I was just kind of cutting them like short enough to where I could still part them. This is like true bangs, and I actually even like pulled some forward because I kept having a weird gap in my bangs. I'm hoping this fixes it. Will this fix it? We'll see. I finished Red Rain and I was right. I didn't love it. No surprise. Same opinions from when I updated you guys last. There was a little something interesting that developed at the end, almost like a mini revelation of sorts, but still not enough for me to raise it up any in terms of star rating levels. Like I said, I did enjoy Michael Cerverus's narration because Michael Cerverus is someone I know. I'm a little biased because he's super nice, and that's why I really liked it. I didn't like that I had to hear him portray these random little boys with accents, but I'd love to hear him narrate like a regular audiobook with different types of accents, non-kid related accents. I think would be fun, but he did a really good job, and he's a really fantastic person. So that was really the only great part about Red Rain. Otherwise, I didn't absolutely enjoy my whole time reading, and I was kind of glad when it was over. I'm gonna settle on a 2.5 rating, but again, I'm pretty sure this is the one Lexie did not like, so I do not feel bad about it. So we're on the same page, actually, for that. And I did start The Hunger Games! I'm only like 28% in, and going in, you guys heard me say that I had good feelings that it could be the best book besides Devil's Creek of the vlog. However, I thought maybe like a 4. I wasn't thinking this type of book, because it's more of a fantasy book, would be so enjoyable. 28% in, I'm already estimating and predicting that this could be a 5-star. Just the way it's reading, I love getting into Katniss's inner psyche, because in the movies you don't get that. Obviously you can only show a certain amount of things, you can't get inside the characters' heads, and you can't get as much detail about, you know, where she lived, about their situation of the entire country that has devolved. So anyway, loving. I think it could be a 5-star, fingers crossed. And this is good that Lexie kind of pushed me to read this, because it's a book I've been interested in because I like the movies. However, it's been so long since I watched the movies, it's still kind of far enough away that I don't remember every single thing, that things are still fresh. Of course, I remember the basic premise of the first movie especially, but I don't really remember a lot of details, and plus there are extra details because it's a book, and that's just naturally how a book is compared to a movie most of the time. So, I don't know if I would ever have picked this up, even though, like I said, I liked the movies, but, you know, fantasy books, and especially, like, fantasy YA type of books aren't really on my radar, especially ones from, like, many years ago. I just was like, okay, well, this train has passed me by. I'm sure it's a good book series, but, you know, the time has come and gone for me to actually experience this book series. But no, I am so glad that, Lexie, you suggested that I read this, because I am loving it, and it's so early on. I've got great feeling about this. So I'm about to finish Devil's Creek. This is our last day for the buddy read, Lexie and I. I haven't heard her thoughts yet, but I know she finished, because she texted me, I'm finished, with like an eyeball emoji, like a creeping and peeping emoji. I have not gotten a chance to read today, partially because I've been goofing off and work and etc. So I am about to settle down, literally over 80% into the book, so I'm pretty confident that for me this will be a 5. I'm guessing for Lexie, just from what she said over the time we've been reading, that it's going to be a 4 or maybe a 4.5. I don't think it's going to be a perfect 5 for her unless the ending blew her away. I'm thinking it could be a 5 for me, because I love the writing, I'm loving the action, I'm loving the supernatural flair. Lexie did say one of her cons with the book, one of her problems with the book, was there's so many point of views throughout the book, which is a valid criticism, and I could totally recognize that. It didn't bother me, but I did recognize how many times the book changes POV very often after she pointed it out, that it was like kind of bothering her. But once the action picked up, the last thing she told me was it actually makes sense that there's so many point of views, because it's almost allowing you to see the different things that are going crazy and happening in every segment of the town, because the action's really heavy right now. It's almost like a movie. This would be a great movie, and I could see it almost like different scenes, like cut to this scene, this group of people, things are, you know, going to hell here, cut to this scene, things are devolving here. Awesome. I love the supernatural elements. Just to reiterate again, lots of cult books, it's a slow burn, not a lot of action, it's subtle, it's psychological. This one, of course, you've got the cult psychological aspects, but you've got tons of heavy supernatural elements that are in the forefront, which you don't see in a lot of cult books, mostly. In terms of fiction books, there are, of course, non-fiction cult books, which would not have to do with supernatural things for the most part. But yeah, when it comes to fiction books about cults, you do not see ones that are this action-packed very often, and also ones that are this supernatural heavy, and I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it, so we will see. Next time I check in, I plan to give you my final thoughts on the Hunger Games and also my final thoughts on Devil's Creek. So let's see if I'm right with my predictions, if those end up being 5 stars, or if something changes with one or both of them. We will see. I'm excited. This vlog kind of started a little wobbly. I'm still so sorry about Project Hail Mary. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry, Lexie. Please don't hate me. But I will say it's gotten better, and I think this vlog is gonna end with a bang, baby! So let's go. Enough yapping. Let's just see how everything wraps up. By the time I talk to you again, we'll know. Cross your fingers. At this time, I have no idea, but cross your fingers that we end with 2 5 stars. That would just be a banger way to end everything. Alright, guys. Check in later. final freaking update for this vlog. So, we already talked about the vlog. It started off rocky, but you know what? I thought it might end with a bang, and it has officially ended with a bang because 2 5 stars, baby! Officially finished Devil's Creek by Todd Kesling. It was indeed a 5. Like I predicted, it could be very early on in the story. So I was right. It is a 5 for me. And I was also right, spoiler I guess, because I don't know if Lexie's vlog is premiering before or after mine, but she may have had the rating I thought she would have for Devil's Creek as well. So, pretty good with predicting that. And the Hunger Games book was a freaking success. I am so jazzed that I loved it as much as I did. Easy 5 stars. Really had a good time reading it. I loved getting inside Katniss's thoughts, and I've said this in a previous update, but it remained true for the majority of the book. I feel like you get a lot more of her inner psyche than in the movie. In the movie, she's kind of broody and silent, and she's like that in the book, but in the book, we as the reader get the benefit of, you know, hearing her inner thoughts that nobody else would be able to hear, like in a movie situation where we don't get inner dialogue for the most part unless there's like a voiceover narration, and there isn't that in the Hunger Games movies. So not only did I finish the Hunger Game book, I rewatched the movie. Actually, having read the book makes me like the film, at least the first film, a little bit less, because I just pictured Peeta a little bit differently, and I don't know. I like Katniss's personality a little bit better in the book, or at least the way I read it in the book, or thought of her in the book. And it had been so long since I saw the movie, or any of the movies, that I didn't have any preconceived notions that were messing me up with my interpretation of the book, or her personality, or anything like that. So I'm so glad I got to it. I would have never picked this up had it not been for Lexie nudging me, so thank you, thank you. I'm so glad this vlog has ended on a more upbeat and positive note, because I still feel really bad about frickin' Project Hail Mary. So where do Lexie and I match up? That's kind of the whole point of this vlog. Obviously, we do match up on the Hunger Games. I know she gave that a 5 star. I reviewed her, double-checked her ratings today, earlier. So yeah, she gave it a 5, I gave it a 5. She gave Devil's Creek a 4, I gave it a 5. So we're almost on the same page. There were some things she didn't like with Devil's Creek as much as me, but we both really enjoyed it. So we're pretty much on the same page there. We are not on the same page at all about Project Hail Mary. She gave that one a 5, and I freaking gave that one a 3. You might be thinking, that's not even that low. It's really not that low, but I'm a generous rater. That's the thing you gotta realize. So a 3 to me means I kind of disliked it, but I can recognize that the writing is great, and it probably will work for a lot of people, but it's just something that it didn't jive with me. But you know, was there anything that warranted like less than a 3? Not really. But that brings me to Red Rain. And here's another thing where Lexie and I are actually on the exact same page for. We both didn't like Red Rain, and I figured that was the case. She gave it a 1. So I looked at her review, and her review is hilarious. It says, no, just no. So I was like, damn, but I understand. She actually hated the audio, and I praised Michael Cerveris, but only because I've met him, and I really like him. I, however, recognize that the audio is a little bit annoying because of the kid main characters and their accents. And I don't think that's Michael Cerveris's, it's hard to say it, possessive. I don't think it's his fault. I think he would be great at reading a regular audiobook with regular adult characters without an accent, so I'm not gonna hate on him. I love him as a person. He's so nice, and he's a great actor, at least in Fringe. So anyway, separate and apart from that, so she really hated the audio. I didn't really care either way. So we're not exactly on the same page on that, but we are close to the same page about the rating of the book. Although I was not nearly as harsh as her, I gave it a 2.5. But that's only because I don't give things a 1. I don't really give things a 1, a 1.5, or even a flat 2, unless I completely loathed it. It was going to be a flat 2, but I actually thought there was something surprising that happened at the end that I kind of teased in my last update for Red Rain. And because of that, I guess I gave it a little bit higher, a score that was just a bit higher than what I was going to give it, which was a 2. So now it sits officially at a 2.5, and Lexie gave it a 1, just to recap once again. So we're pretty close there, and again, it's because I'm more of a generous rater than she is. That's just across the board. It's not with just these books, it's across the board. She will tell you probably the same thing, or has told you the same thing if you've already seen her video. I guarantee you she'll say something about my rating and how it's usually higher than hers, no matter what. But we both give away 5 stars pretty easily if we enjoyed a book. Like, it doesn't have to be the greatest writing. It doesn't have to be the greatest story. It really is more about our enjoyment. And in that way, we're very similar. But yeah, I can't really tell when and where we match up and when and where we don't. I don't know if I would always be able to accurately predict it. I kind of did in this vlog. I had a feeling that we would match up on some things, but that we may not match up on Project Hail Mary. Although I hoped I was wrong, and I did have a glimmer of hope that I would like it. So it's not like I was pessimistic from the very beginning. Anyway, those are kind of my thoughts. You know, me and Lexie have had lots of favorites in common, as I said in the beginning of this vlog, and I think we'll continue to have lots of favorites in common, but there's just going to be some books that we just don't match up on. But what makes us have such differing opinions on those particular books, I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't know. Maybe she has a better understanding of the things we both like in common. Obviously, we're more apt to like horror versus if I'm trying something out of my comfort zone, but that's not always the case, like with the Hunger Games. So I don't know, because there are horror books that I don't agree with her on the rating for as well. So in terms of I didn't enjoy it as much as her, etc., or vice versa. I don't know. Anyway, all I do know is that this was a lot of fun, and I'm so glad Lexie asked me to do this. Thank you so much, Lexie. This is such a fun concept. You're so creative when it comes to wonderful booktube ideas. You have like a freaking genius brain for booktube and for events, and you always inspire me. You really just have a wonderful sense of creativity when it comes to this type of thing, and also with crafts. That has nothing to do with booktube, but just saying. You got a lot of strengths, and I'm so glad we're friends. So glad we did this. I'm so sorry about Project Hail Mary. Hopefully you'll still want to be friends with me after this. I hope so. It would be really sad if not. But anyway, I had a lot of fun once again, and thank you guys for watching. But for this time, I gotta say, that is it for me. Did you agree with my ratings? Did you agree more with Lexie's ratings when it comes to Project Hail Mary? What did you think? Let me know any of that down below. What other books do you think I should read that maybe are out of my comfort zone? Like maybe Hunger Games adjacent books? I think I want to continue on with the series, by the way. Alright guys, yep, that's it for me. Till next time, you know what you can do. Keep on killing it. Bye guys.